Hello, and welcome to the first day of Vlogmas. It's technically not December yet. It'll be December in like less than 48 hours, but I wanted to do this now. So yeah, today, as you can probably tell from the title, I am making gluten-free sugar cookies. This is not by choice. I have celiac, so if I eat like gluten at all, it triggers an autoimmune reaction and I get very, very sick. And I have been sent to the ER for it multiple times. It's really, really bad. But I didn't always have it. And my mom is an amazing baker, so I grew up eating like, you know, just normal baked goods that tasted really good. So once I got diagnosed with celiac and tried buying like, you know, store-bought baked goods, I realized that they all suck. And a lot of the recipes online are meant for people who are like gluten-free to be trendy and healthy, not for people who want good tasting food and just can't eat gluten. So that's what this is. Today I'm making sugar cookies. I have my little recipe and everything. And yeah, I am just gonna get started. This is like as quick and easy of a recipe as you can get, in my opinion, without just making something out of a box. Like, we're gonna take quite a few shortcuts, and this will take a few hours less than it typically would if you're making dough from scratch. But yeah, so first thing you're gonna do is get your softened butter. I just left this on the counter overnight. You're gonna need a cup of it, which is typically like 2 sticks. And you're gonna cream that with, how much sugar is it? I believe it's 1.5 cups. No, you're gonna cream it with 1 cup of sugar. This is easiest if you have a hand mixer or a stand mixer. If you don't, you can just use a fork or I mean, you can use a whisk, but honestly, I wouldn't recommend it just because it's just gonna stick to your whisk. So if you have like a pastry cutter or 2 forks, that will do what you need it to do. So yeah, get your butter, and then a cup of sugar. This is just like normal white cane sugar. Nothing fancy. Not enough in this one. Sugar's actually almost out, so I'm just gonna. Yeah, okay. So just dump your sugar in there, and then on like a low speed, you're just gonna like cream it together until it forms like, I don't know, a sugary butter paste. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm not a chef. I just like making things that taste good. I'll plug this in. Also, I'm sorry, my kitchen is so like not a good layout for cooking videos just because of the way that like my counters are placed, but I am trying. This bowl also isn't deep enough, so I have to do this in pulses so it doesn't get everywhere. And it probably still will, because it usually does.
A few minutes later.
It should look something like that. Just like a sugary, buttery paste, I guess. And if there's like loose sugar, you can just kind of stir it with a spatula. It doesn't need to be perfect because like you're just gonna keep stirring it more. You just want to get like the sugar mostly incorporated with the butter because that's what's gonna give you the texture that you want. Okay, next I believe it's the eggs and vanilla. Yeah, okay. I don't even know my own recipe. I have to keep it written down. But you're gonna want 2 room temperature eggs. Move this guy over. I need a hand towel. I love baked goods. I hate touching egg, and I have to rinse my fingertips immediately afterwards, even if I'm gonna touch them again. Let me know if you're also like that. I don't know, it's just like, it feels strange on my fingers. And then, is it a teaspoon or a tablespoon? 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Use pure vanilla. If you only have imitation, like it's not gonna kill you, but it's not gonna taste as good either. So 2 teaspoons of this. Hello, sir. What you doing? This is not for you. 2 teaspoons. And then beat it more. It's gonna look really gross for a second, but it's okay. And then you're just gonna wanna like clean your whisk or your beaters or your forks or whatever it is you have been using to stir this with. Again, then I'm just gonna go in with the spatula again and make sure that everything on the edges is also incorporated. And from here on out, I am just gonna use a spatula because I feel like it incorporates the other dry ingredients in much better and it doesn't clog up the beaters. Okay, then it is 3/4 teaspoons of baking powder. It's so tiny. And then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. When you are measuring out salt for any baked good, whatever you do not pour it over your bowl, because if you spill it in there by accident, and it happens a lot, you're gonna mess up your entire recipe. So just get one of the measuring cups that you've been using, just put your little spoon over that and pour it over there. So we're using 1/2 teaspoon of this. Let me make sure that's the right one. Just do that. I'm just gonna stir that in there, make sure it's evenly incorporated. You should have a yellowish paste at this point. If it looks kind of like this, you're doing it right. Okay, how much flour is it? It's a 1.5 cups, 2.5. Okay, 2.5 cups of gluten-free flour. Hypothetically speaking, you can use any brand of gluten-free flour, but I found for baking cookies specifically, the Bob's Red Mill's 1-to-1 works the best. It acts the same as normal flour. It tastes good. Like, this is my favorite. I like other brands more for other things like frying foods and like breads, but this is the best for cookies in my opinion. So you're gonna get 2.5 cups of that. I like to just kind of pat it into the baking cup while it's in there, or measuring cup I mean. Flour. 2. And the 1/2 cup. I'm gonna make sure there's no salt left in there. There. And we're just gonna mix that until it turns into cookie dough.
5 minutes later.
So this is where we are taking shortcuts. Typically when you make sugar cookies, you want to chill it in the fridge for 2 hours to overnight, but we're not going to do that. You're also usually supposed to separate it into different discs and then roll it out again after it's chilled, and we're not doing that either. What we're going to do, I'm sure you can probably do this with any sugar cookie recipe, is you're going to get a big piece of parchment paper. And you're gonna stick it down. You won't even need to flour your rolling surface because it's just gonna slide right off of this. Which is great because gluten-free flour is really expensive, and I would like to not just waste a bunch of it with rolling out cookies. So get your dough and just dump it on there. Definitely could have mixed that better, but I can do that more on here. Oh my god. And if you're like me and realize that you did not thoroughly mix the part of the dough that was touching the bottom of your mixing bowl, you can just kind of use your hands and mix it a little bit more, fold it into itself until you have a cohesive dough. Kind of feels like playing with Play-Doh, which is fun to me at least. And you just keep folding the dough. Now this right here is what is going to make it significantly easier for you throughout the rest of this recipe. Once I get some of this dough off my hands. You're gonna get a second piece of parchment paper. Put it over your dough. Squish it down a little bit. And you're gonna right here, right now, roll the dough out into the thickness that you want your cookies. And again, since you're doing it through the parchment paper, it's not gonna stick. If you do this, when you take it out, you don't have to like deal with rolling cold dough and then having to like stick it back in the fridge to chill it again because it got too warm because it took you too long to roll it out. You can literally just take this out and cut your cookies out and stick them in the oven. It's so much easier, and I have no idea why more people don't do that. Because like, I don't know, having to leave stuff to chill overnight is something that deters me from baking and cooking in general a lot of the time. So I know that like good stuff takes time, but also if I want to spontaneously make sugar cookies, I'd like to be able to eat them that day in a reasonable amount of time. Just roll it out until it feels like it's like maybe a ½ inch thick. It really doesn't need to be exact. You just want to get this as good as you can. You're going for good enough, not perfection. Unplug that because it's very much in my way. Check under here. That looks about the right thickness. So I'm just gonna get the 2 pieces of parchment paper and fold them into themselves. So it's like you have a nice, neat little package of sugar cookie dough. And then what you're gonna do is get your sheet of cookie dough very carefully. I'm sorry. Yeah. You get your thing of cookie dough, put it on your baking sheet, stick it in the freezer for 30 minutes. Make sure you have enough room in your freezer before you get to this step. Because for some reason, I always forget to move things around. Even though I do this the exact same way every time I make these. Okay. Cool. Okay. Set yourself a timer for 30 minutes. I'm gonna make some tea or coffee or something and also clean this up. So yes, BRB, I will be back in 30 minutes. Okay, it's been 30 minutes, so I'm gonna take this out of the freezer. And you should have chilled cookie dough at this point. So basically, slide the dough off your pan. It's probably gonna be a little bit bent. I don't have a pan big enough for an entire sheet of cookie dough, so yeah. Get your pan, get some more parchment paper, and line your pan. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then preheat your oven to 350 degrees. I don't have a normal oven, I have a convection oven. So convection ovens tend to cook things slightly faster than like normal ovens do. So what I would recommend is they usually take approximately 13 minutes in a convection oven. Check on them around the 10-minute mark and then gauge whether 13 minutes will be enough, and if not, try 15. Just keep an eye on them to make sure that they don't burn, because you just want them to be like soft on the inside and like a nice light golden brown around the edges. What you're gonna do next is get your rolling pin, and you're not trying to flatten it, you just want to soften the dough a tiny bit so it's easier to work with. And like, you know, flatten out any edges that might have gotten folded up in the freezer. And this is where it's gonna be so easy. Since your dough is already the thickness that you want your cookies to be, you can literally just cut them out with a cookie cutter and like call it a day. So I'm just gonna use some cute little like holiday shaped cookie cutters. Got like some trees and snowflakes and like stars and stuff. Goes down in there. What I like to do is grab my spatula. This needs to be rinsed off. Actually, no, I'm just using a different spatula. Get your spatula, and I just slide it underneath the cookie and just grab the whole cookie cutter out. And then you can just pop it on your pan. The cool thing about this too is if your dough is like almost frozen, you don't want it like frozen, but like colder than it would get in a fridge, and you bake it, your cookies are gonna keep their shape a lot better because the butter's more solid. They're not gonna like, you know, spread out and get all flat and stuff. My little gingerbread guy. And just do the same thing for all your cookies until you have however many you want. I'm not going to use all this dough at once. I'm just going to use enough to fill my pan because I am one person and I can eat that many sugar cookies, but I know I shouldn't, and if I make an entire like batch of cookies for just myself, I will eat them all, and that's not good. So I'm going to use like a pan's worth of dough. Snowflake cutters are such a pain. They look so cute, so I deal with it anyway. There we go. Make sure your cookies are spaced about like an inch apart. sourdough is a little bit thicker than I want it to be. I'm actually gonna get this last little edge guy here and then put the parchment paper back over it again and just roll it out a tiny bit. Honestly, that's fine. I want like really soft cookies anyway. The thicker the cookie, the softer it's gonna be. If you like crispy edges, do not roll them this thick. Another little gingerbread. There is extra like parchment paper hanging over the side. It's kind of a lot, so I'm just gonna like cut a little bit of that off. That should be fine. So once your cookies are on your pan, I like to do move the dough aside. Actually, I'm gonna take care of the dough first. That's the smart thing to do. I just put my dough back on its little like tray thing. Not tray, parchment paper. Roll it back out into another disc. Then I'm just gonna wrap this up. Stick it in a Ziploc if it'll fit. Hopefully it does. And then I'm just gonna pop this back in the freezer. And I have another sheet of cookie dough ready for when I wanna make the rest of these. It was fridge, not freezer. No! Okay, so now that I have these on the tray and the other dough is put away, I'm gonna get my sprinkles. I like using these like sugary ones. If you don't have these, they're like 99 cents at Walmart. Pretty sure Dollar Tree also has them. If not, you can literally just get sugar and a couple drops of food coloring and it's the same thing. And I'm gonna just sprinkle these all over my cookies. Child, I hear you. I have to check on my cat. Gigi, are you okay? Oh my god. So my cat does this thing where he will fake gag to get my attention. And I can't ignore it because, like, what if he's actually sick? But also, that means I've accidentally trained him to know that that means he'll get attention, which is very bad. And I'm trying to figure out how to, like, fix that, but whatever. That is a later problem. Right now, my concern is cookies. I feel like these little, like, sugar bits create a nice, like, I don't want to call it a crust, but, like, I don't have a better word for it. Oh my god. I want a pink gingerbread man. And I'm just gonna stick them in here for 13 minutes. And yes, I shall return when it's time to take them out. I'm gonna do dishes. Okay, BRB. Okay, I have returned. It's actually been 20 minutes. I made them a little thicker than I usually do, so they had to cook for longer, but they are done now. Has sugar cookies. Now for the most difficult part of baking anything, which is letting them actually cool down completely before I eat them, so I don't burn my hands and mouth, which I'm probably going to do anyway, but I'm gonna try not to. I am gonna put them onto a plate though or something so they cool down a little bit faster.
A few moments later.
I did not give these enough time to cool down, but I want to eat one. I'm gonna just break a little piece off of this guy. That was delightful. And yeah, that's pretty much it. There's cookies now. I don't know what else to say, but okay, bye. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, subscribe. If you like this kind of video, let me know and I will cook more things. But yes, I should have shown this in the video, but I'm eating cookie now. And look at how soft and fluffy the inside is. It's wonderful. It was really good. Okay, I'm gonna edit this now. Bye.